So guy number three was very interesting. He was the one guy out of the three guys I've mentioned who I actually never dated but came close to dating but was hugely impacted by. It was very odd to me. So I met him in 2023, in the summer of 2023, a year and a half after my divorce from my now ex-husband. And it was in a grocery store. I was working in the hard department of that grocery store, and he was working in another department. He had friends in the Harvard department he would come over and chit chat with, and they seemed to be very close. And so that was how we met, and we were introduced by the members of the Harvard department. So he would come over daily and we would just chit chat, or rather, it would not be daily, it would be the same days, obviously, where we had overlapping schedules. I would not work every single day, but about 4 or 5 days a week, and sometimes some days I'd be there, he'd be there, and some days he wasn't. So the days that he and I both were there, we would chit chat. It seemed like chemistry was pretty good. We were having great conversations. We were seemed like to be hitting it off very well, and I loved talking with him. He was very charismatic and had good energy and whatnot, and I just wanted to get to know him more. So this was around, I want to say, July of 2023, and every week passed by. We got to know more and more about each other. He would make me laugh. I would laugh so loud in that department store, or in that department of the grocery store, that other people, I know it caught their attention because of what he was saying, the jokes he was making, and I really want to get to know him more. So I want to say it was the last week of July. That last week of July, we exchanged numbers and we started texting one another. And I mentioned something along the lines of talking with him when he got home, because he would leave his shift before I left mine. And after I got home, I mentioned, hey, maybe we could talk after I get off work. And I noticed he was very into text conversations, which I'm not as much into text conversations. And I was wondering why he never wanted to talk more, why he didn't just want to jump on, have a phone conversation, because that's quicker than text messages, right? And so he'd have these excuses about he just got in, he was tired, he was watching a movie or some TV show, but he insisted on continuously texting. And this guy, as the other two guys were, was also the age of 33. So I just thought, for that age of 33, at this point in time I was 36, well, rather, he was 32 turning 33, and I was 35 turning 36. I just thought that was just very unusual behavior for someone of that age to just continuously engage in, even though a woman that he expressed he was interested in wanted to talk to him by phone, by via conversation. So it seemed to always be an issue. And so finally it got to the end of the week. I remember getting on a call with Tony Gaskins. If you don't know, Tony Gaskins is a relationship and dating coach, and he gives a lot of advice about men and the games men play. And I recall just that last conversation I had with this fella through text message, and I told him, okay, so it seemed like already through those text messages exchange, he was already doubtful that a woman he perceived to be very pretty, he was doubtful that I really had an interest in him, and somewhere in his mind he thought probably I was mean because of how I looked, and because I guess in his eyes I was so pretty that maybe that meant automatically that I was mean, and that was not the case. But I was really genuine in my interest in talking with him more. So I don't know if that ate away with him or if there was something else going on. But finally, that last day, he talked to me very briefly on the phone, but it was in the break room or whatnot, or maybe it was the next to last day when I talked to him, and he let someone in the break room take over the whole conversation. He just chit-chatted with that person in the break room while I was on the phone with him, knowing I was on the phone with him, and I just hung up. And he was saying what happened, and I said, I am not this basic chick who is desperate for a male's attention. I will not tolerate you sitting there having another conversation with someone in person when you could just say, hey, let's talk later. So then the next day, which was a Friday, I recall different customers coming through, as always, and there were different men at different points that would hit on me and compliment me. And there was this one fella who was there who just made this comment about, oh wow, you're so beautiful, and I hope your man is taking good care of you, and just chuckling to myself, I remember texting this to the guy. Mind you, we're not dating or anything. We're friends at this point, just getting to know each other. And I said, it's so funny how some of these dudes are approaching me. And I mentioned that this one guy was saying, hey, your guy's lucky to have you in your life and have a woman like you. And then he